Item 6E, selection of on-call traffic and roadway engineering firm. The city's current contract for on-call traffic engineering services is set to expire on December 31st, 2010. An RFQ was issued with 9 responses being received. 4 firms were interviewed on December 7th by the city's selection committee. 2 firms, George Butler and Associates and Olson Associates, were recommended by the selection committee to perform on-call traffic and roadway engineering services. Hourly rates for both these firms have been provided to council, and contracts will be executed upon acceptance of the proposed hourly rates. Therefore, Madam Mayor, I move the City Council accept the hourly rates of George Butler and Associates and Olson Associates to perform on-call traffic and roadway engineering services for the City of Mission.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Weber?
I was told to be nice tonight. This one really tore me up. And I didn't find out to the last minute that I was a substitute to be on this committee. But from everything that went and the way it went, it was probably the smoothest railroad job that I've had the privilege, or whatever you want to say, to participate in. We're talking engineering thing here, and this is the paperwork that was sent out from the very beginning, and I've got a lot of it. And it's what it says. It says on-call traffic roadway service, okay? And that part of it is good. Then when we get this paperwork here, which is the part of the agenda we had, the description, it says number 1 is a full design of Johnson Drive improvements, Knoll Avenue to Lamar, design of other cars funding available, eligible roadways, including but not limited to Martway, Fox Ridge, Broadmoor, and Lamar. Then at the bottom it says, please note that the consultants may be asked to coordinate with other consultants on certain projects. Boy, that's all wonderful stuff, isn't it? And they did all of this and took kinds of tests and I don't know what all. But spent 5.5 hours there and spent about 3 sleepless nights, talked to a number of people about it. And you know, I'm going to reflect to the past for a moment. Those in the 90s, I don't know if you remember or not, when we was having a hell of a problem with sewer backup in our community, mainly in our ward. It was a big problem. And there just happened to be 2 people that worked with me on that, or I had the pleasure of working with them. One of them was Jim Lorenz, and the other one was Joe Wilkes. Both of them were employees of Black and Veatch. And we finally got it, and when things settled down, there was 2 big jobs that the sewer district did, and Irene French got the first one, and the City of Mission got the second one, which was the piggyback job that was done on 58th Street down to the main line. We've had very few complaints said. We did, I mean, they were engineered, they helped immensely in getting the work done and doing some of the stuff back then. Now we got a problem with stormwater, and it is a problem. Who's been doing most of the work for us? A man by the name of Charlie Sievert with Black and Veatch. He's been with us for 12 years. He probably knows more about this storm system than I bet you anybody in this room, or a lot of engineers. 2 of the engineers that agreed to the original project that we did down there on where it comes in on Johnson Drive, where Roland Park comes in and Fairway dumps out. 2 of those engineers down there that agreed with the project that was sanctioned by the county, said it was a wonderful job. It didn't hurt anything. 2 of them have been fired, so they got rid of them. And you know, I thought it was a terrible slap in the face for us to be able to sit here and make it and cut these people out of this deal. I really do. I just think it's atrocious. And first off, just like originally said, Johnson Drive, we got to clean up that stormwater down there. And we have the potential of a development that's in our area again that people have been told not to talk to me about it. But sooner or later, it's going to come to a head. And it directly pertains with the stormwater. And we're going to need somebody in there that knows what the hell they're talking about. And I think for the services that they provided for this city in the past has been remarkable, in my opinion, and for what was done. And for me to just sit here and just let that go and just to totally cut that group out of this equation, I think is just ridiculous. But I've cleaned that up, believe me. And the only thing I can say is, people, that sitting up here, you make the decision, and how many times have you heard in the last 2 years, we do nothing without the consent of the council and them telling us what we can and can't do. I think it's about time that we speak up here. And if we're going to do anything with Johnson Drive and the rest of it down there, we're going to need somebody in there that knows what they're doing. And these other engineers, if they want somebody to do the street work, I have no problem with that whatsoever. If they like those wonderful pictures George Butler put up down there at the community center of what that street should look like, it looks great. But how many people were here when we sat down and we looked at the pictures that they gave us of the East Gateway? The wonderful stream that was running through East Gateway. Remember that on the prints? Oh, it was beautiful. Took me 2 years to convince them there was no stream there. There was a reactive creek. When it rained, we got water. Now, I don't know. I just don't know. But I just can't support it in no way, shape, or form. And if they want to, I would suggest that, I'd make an amendment to it, that I would put in Black and Veatch, and then I'd put in, if they want George Butler, we go with George Butler for the rest of it. But they have two groups, and they say competitive competition. Well, I tell you what, people, just this month alone, November, we just paid Trans System Corporation $39,615. And that was for basically Knoll Drive, the design on that, and the other one was Knoll Drive speed bumps. I believe it wasn't just too many months ago where a gentleman stood up at that podium and said he doesn't need $6 million for Knoll Drive. He would be satisfied with just some speed bumps. Well, there's what they got, both of them. I think it's time that we put a stop to some of this stuff. But that's only my own opinion. And I do put that form in the form of an amendment to that motion.
That motion fails. Mr. Vandenberg, did you have comments?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry, I thought you, Mrs. Gibbs?
We're not talking the motion.
We were talking about the main
Okay.
motion.
I was on that committee, and I would just like to give you my perspective of it. If there was a snow job, I guess I missed it. I was delivered my packet, I did my homework, I studied it, I went there, I met the people, the 4 candidates that were there. I had not met any of them before except for Charlie Sievert. Nobody had said a word to me about any of them, so in my opinion, there was no snow job. I stand behind our decision. We did an excellent job. It was a long 6 hours, I agree, but I think we all learned something. I think we've made an excellent choice. Thank you.
Susie, for the audience, you might add who all was on your committee. I know you reviewed it during our committee meeting.
John, myself, Leslie, Martin, Aaron from the Visioning Committee, Aaron
Henderson.
Overland Park Engineer, City of Overland Park
Brian
Engineer, Brian
Scoville.
Scoville, and Doug Gregg from Answer Pro.
Mr. Weber?
No disrespect intended, Susie, but I believe you made the comment down there to some individual, no name mentioned, that you said you didn't know why you was there because you wasn't an engineer and you had to pick an engineering group. Yeah, I think so. I'm not an engineer either, and there was one engineer there, and he was from Overland Park, but he left before the final vote. There were 7 of us there. When the vote was taken, there was only 6. I questioned it, and it's because he left before the final vote. And I believe the question was brought up by one guy about the engineer and the number of people there that weren't engineers.
And if I remember correctly, we voted twice, and the vote came out the same way both times.
Mr. Andre?
For clarification's sake, Madam Mayor, we're voting on a traffic engineer at
That
this
is
time.
correct. We're voting on the recommendation from that came up from the committee.
And regardless of how this vote comes out, Black and Veatch will remain as our stormwater engineer, is that correct?
It's true.
And if there's any stormwater work to be done along Johnson Drive and part of reconstructing the road, Black and Veatch at this time would be slated to do that work, is that correct?
That is true.
Thank you, I just want to make sure I understood clearly.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I got a comment on that.
Okay.
I want that in the minutes, and I think it'd be nice then if the city sent them a letter that they will be then the engineers on that in writing, period. Yes,
Mr. Vandenberg?
I would make that request.
Is Leslie still on vacation, or?
She's right there behind Mr. Scanlon.
There she is. I didn't see you.
What's your point?
I just was wondering what your feelings are on these 2 firms and how you feel you can work with them, and
Why don't you?
Thank you, Councilman Vandenberg. I had a very nice vacation. Thank you. I concur with Susie's comments. I think that we had a very nice process. I think we had a wide variety of people participating, and I feel comfortable with the selection as well. Okay. And I think we'll do a fine job with any of the firms. And I might just point out, we did say repeatedly during the process, we had 9 phenomenal submittals. I mean, any 9 of the firms that submitted would, I'm sure, do an outstanding job. And of the 4 we interviewed, they would all have done an outstanding job.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
One more clarification. From your perspective, would you say that if we were looking for traffic engineers, this is the criteria that met the traffic engineer forte, and Black and Veatch met a forte of stormwater more?
No, they only were evaluating things.
Right,
based
we
on-
weren't even, I mean, part of the evaluation criteria, we weren't even discussing stormwater, so I have no idea what the other firm's qualifications are in stormwater, because it was only for traffic and roadway-related projects. And of the firm,
And Trans Systems, who
Did
was
not
the current-
submit.
The current on-call did not submit.
correct. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Mrs. Gross Didier, did you have a comment?
No, I did not.
All right, any other comments? Please call the question.
Andre?
Aye.
Footlick?
Aye.
Gibbs?
Aye.
Rostidier?
Aye.
Crane?
Aye.
Vandenberg?
Aye.
Weber?
No.
That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Item number 7.